Did you all see the presidential debate the other day? There were some crazy moments. Let's take a look.
I'm part of that Obama coalition. I come out of the black community in terms of my support. If you notice, I have more people supporting me in the black community that have announced for me because they know me. They know who I am. 3 former chairs of the Black Caucus, the only African-American woman that ever been elected to the United States Senate, a whole range of people.
No,
my point is,
that's not true. The other one is here.
Ouch, he can't even remember that the only other black female senator is on the stage with him. This is just another one of his blunders, and it shows that he needs to retire. Then there is the fight with Mayor Pete Buttigieg and Tulsi Gabbard. They both have military experience behind them, but she seems to argue that she has greater experience and judgment concerning foreign affairs and national security. She has been on major committees in Washington and met with foreign officials. Let's see how Pete reacts to that.
If your question is about experience, let's also talk about judgment. One of the foreign leaders you mentioned meeting was Bashar al-Assad. I have, in my experience, such as it is, whether you think it counts or not since it wasn't accumulated in Washington, enough judgment that I would not have sat down with a murderous dictator like that.
You were asked directly whether you would send our troops to Mexico to fight cartels, and your answer was yes. The fact checkers can check this out.
No.
But your point about judgment is absolutely correct. Our commander-in-chief does need to have good judgment. And what you've just pointed out is that you would lack the courage to meet with both adversaries and friends to ensure the peace and national security of our nation. I take the example of those leaders who have come before us, leaders like JFK, who met with Khrushchev, like Roosevelt, who met with Stalin.
I think Tulsi nailed him. Remember, she's the one who took down Kamala Harris a few debates back concerning her hypocrisy on criminal justice reform.
Congresswoman Gabbard, you took issue with Senator Harris confronting Vice President Biden at the last debate. You called it a, quote, false accusation that Joe Biden is a racist. What's your response?
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
That woman can sting. Coming to the socialists of the night, let's look at Elizabeth Warren.
Let me just tell you what we can do with that 2-cent wealth tax. 2 cents on the top 1/10 of 1% in this country, and we can provide universal child care for every baby in this country aged 0 to 5. That is transformative. We can provide universal pre-K for every 3-year-old and 4-year-old in America. We can stop exploiting the women, largely black and brown women, who do this work, and we can raise the wages of every child care worker and preschool teacher in America. We can put $800 billion new federal dollars into all of our public schools. We can make college tuition free for every kid. We can put $50 billion into historically black colleges and universities, and we can cancel student loan debt for 95% of the folks who've got it. 2-cent wealth tax, and we can invest in an entire generation.
By the way, this is a different wealth tax than the one for healthcare. Yeah, I know it gets confusing. Here Warren blunders a bit, but she's talking about a tax of 2 cents on every dollar over 50 million. That's different than the Medicare wealth tax that takes 6 cents off of every dollar over $1 billion. Then there is Bernie.
What we have got to do tonight, and I will do as president, is to tell the fossil fuel industry that their short-term profits are not more important than the future of this planet. And by the way, the fossil fuel industry is probably criminally liable because they have lied and lied and lied when they had the evidence that their carbon products were destroying the planet, and maybe we should think about prosecuting them as well.
So we should prosecute people who gave us clean energy? That's crazy. What I thought was interesting about this debate is that some of the candidates really had their defining moments. Let's look at Cory Booker first.
But the next president, whoever they are, is going to have to be someone who can heal and bring this nation together, this whole nation. So absolutely in that office, I will do whatever it takes to make sure we bring this country together. But it's not for a kumbaya moment. We are a nation that achieves great things when we stand together and work together and fight together. So absolutely. When I was mayor of the largest city in my state, and this is where I agree with Mayor Pete, mayoral experience is very important, and I happen to be the other Rhodes Scholar mayor on this stage.
I feel like we haven't seen the soft and almost conservative side of him before. He wants to bring entrepreneurial power back and inspire the creation of jobs, especially in the Black community. He wants people to increase their wealth. Now let's look at Tulsi.
What Senator Harris is doing is unfortunately continuing to traffic in lies and smears and innuendos because she cannot challenge the substance of the argument that I'm making, the leadership and the change that I'm seeking to bring in our foreign policy, which only makes me guess that she will, as president, continue the status quo, continue the Bush, Clinton, Trump foreign policy of regime change wars, which is deeply destructive.
She even said the party continues to be influenced by the foreign policy establishment, represented by Hillary Clinton and others. That is the rot she wants to clear out of the Democratic Party. All in all, Tulsi and Booker had strongholds in the debate because they came across as moderate and almost conservative in the midst of all of the talk on abortion, Trump's impeachment, and programs we can't pay for. I'm Abagail Hamman for Rebel News.